Hello everyone, my name's Ashley. I'm going to give you a quick review on the topic of heritability for our evolutionary bio video assignment. So what is heritability? Heritability is the proportion of phenotype variation in a population due to genetic variation. So just in case for those of you who don't know, phenotypes are the physical traits, the traits that we can see that are expressed in an individual. So a key topic or a key word in this definition is the within a population part. That's what makes heritability different from heredity. And heredity is the traits that you receive from your parents. So back to heritability. Heritability is used often as a statistic. It's represented by h squared, and it's somewhere in between 0 and 1. When h squared equals 0, the variation within that population is due to the environment, and if h squared equals 1, the variation within that population is merely due to genetic differences. It's very rarely one or the other. That's why it's usually falls somewhere in the middle. So I know this is kind of confusing, so why don't we walk through a quick example. Okay, so here we have 4 finches of the same species, right? We took them as chicks, and we are going to raise them in captivity, in isolation. So they're all in their own isolated environments, but they're all the same. And they were given the same amount of food. Essentially, the main point is that they have the same environment. So we raise these chicks to adulthood, and we notice that even though they're the same species, any of their slight differences between the 4, we can say has to be due to their genetic differences, because since they were all raised within the same environment, their differences had to come from their genes. So this is an example of when h squared equals 0.99, or essentially 1, but again, it's usually very rarely either extreme. So next, let's look at the other end of the heritability value. So we have 4 chicks again, right? But instead of just being only the same species, we are going to say that these guys are quadruplets, meaning that they have the same genome or same genes, genetic makeup. But we are going to not raise them in isolation this time. We're going to raise them in extremely different environments. So this chick is going to be raised in the desert. This chick will be raised off the coast. And this chick will be raised in the mountains. And this chick will be raised in a typical forest. So once these chicks have reached adulthood, since they have the same genome, any differences that they have once they've become adults, we can say is strictly from their environment. And in this case, the h squared value would equal 0, or somewhere close to it. So that would be the other extreme of the heritability scale. So as a quick recap, heritability is the proportion, often a percentage, of phenotype variation in a population due to genetic variation. So hopefully this helped you guys out in better understanding the topic of heritability.